What's up, y'all? It's your girl. It's been a couple of days, maybe a week. Hey, new. Hey, this ain't new, but you know, my music from my EP. Hey.
Whoa, so you're pretty and you sing cold and you can pour love. Can't quite understand what's taking so long. You're a stable and have a good job and taking of yourself. Wondering what's been holding them so long. Wondering where you're. How long till you find?
Hey.
Everyone else is weird. When will it be your turn? Wondering where you're.
Oh.
How long till you find? Everyone else is weird. When will it be your turn?
Woo!
Just
It's your girl Chanel from Complex Simplicity. Happy September. I think the last time I did a vlog, it was the last week of August. Thank you for bearing with me, y'all. I've been really trying to adjust to my new work schedule. It's going great. I'm actually doing very well so far. My managers are pleased with my performance. You know, your girl's goal is to work her way up through the coach family. And yes, so my hours vary. That's the retail world, right? And so, you know, it has kind of affected my schedule for vlogging. But don't worry, even though I missed last week, even if I have to hit y'all with either a really amazing, incredible vlog today or two for the week, I'm gonna try my best to do so. I've missed you all. I've missed just talking. It's like so crazy how even though I don't know everyone who tunes in, who watches, who listens or whatever, I still feel your presence. It's like hard to explain. It's a little crazy, but yes, I missed y'all. So like I miss being able to like talk my shit, you know, or just like, you know, speak my piece about whatever's been going on in my life or what's going on in the world or whatever. So today's vlog may be about a myriad of a couple of topics. Just want to encourage everybody out there, the dreamers out there, the people who have big time goals and dreams and aspirations for their lives. Y'all don't give up, y'all. Like take a step, even if it's a step at a time. You build one brick at a time. Like just get going and get in motion. Point yourself in the right direction of what you're trying to do. And even if you're like, girl, I don't even know what direction that is, still research, talk to people, make some kind of daily effort to see your goals and your dreams and your aspirations through. I'm a living witness. I'm doing it now. And I still have a lot more bricklaying to do and a lot more steps to take. But listen, I'm year 2 in. So a step at a time, a brick at a time. You'd be surprised how far that can lead you. Always keep your eye on the bigger picture. Like I always say, I know so many talented people. And you know, I want to be able to make sure that we're all pushing ourselves to do great and amazing things. We're even collaborating with one another to do great and amazing things. And you know, like, let's just do it, y'all. Don't stand in your own way. Don't give up. I just wanted to start this vlog off with that inspirational message. So last week it was all, or the week before last, it was all about the Myers-Briggs personality test, you know, which I still think is so dope. If you have actually taken the time out to take this test, let me know what your score is. Once again, I'm an ESFJ. I'm considered the Consul, C-O-N-S-U-L. I had a great time doing it with my girlfriends or having them do it. I had done it a year before with other girlfriends. So I think it's just a really cool thing to kind of know more or less how one another may be wired. You know, there are a lot of things that came up in my results and even in my girlfriend's results that really rang true to who we are. So takes you 20 minutes of your life, if that. Like, just be brutally honest when answering the questions, and I promise you it'll be a pretty dope experience. So this week, you know, I'm always on that psychological analytical assessment kind of tip. It's just part of my brand, a part of how I'm wired, how I see the world, how I like to break down the world around me, people around me, myself included. So one point that stood out to me was, I feel like I had like this whole setup of what I wanted this vlog to be, because missing a week with you all, I feel like it's so much to catch up on, right? But so it may sound a little jumbled, just bear with me. I'm gonna start with last night. So last night I worked the, I think like 2 to 9:30 shift, right? So by the time I got home, my feet were killing me. I'm still getting adjusted to being on my feet for hours at a time. And I immediately sat down and turned on Iyanla Vanzant's Fix My Life. And she had Brandy and her husband on. Brandy used to be on Basketball Wives, Brandy Maxiell, and her husband, forgot his first name, but I know his last name is Maxiell. He's a former NBA player, and they had a rough time in their marriage. He cheated with umpteen women, about 341 allegedly, to be exact. And Iyanla was trying to help them through this process. And a point that she brought up that I did put on my personal social media and my Complex Simplicity social media page was the fact that mothers, how your sons turn out has a lot to do with the mother. It's the responsibility of the mother, right? Because the mom is the nurturer. She's the one that tugs on their strings. She's the one who they're with the most, right? And so a young man can mimic and mirror the behavior of his father, but who he turns out to be has a lot to do with his mother. And I think that that is a very, very, very important and deep, what's the word I'm looking for? Detail to understand. I know my mom used to tell me this for years, right? So I kind of always grew up with this. Iyanla wasn't the first time that I've heard this idea, right? But really, men, who they are and how they turn out to be has a lot to do with their mothers. Now, certain behavioral patterns that they may have, that they might have mirrored things that they saw their fathers do, that's where the father's role comes in. But really who they are at the core, at the stem of who they are, so to speak, has everything to do with their mothers. And for us women, who we become as far as where our self-worth lies and our self-esteem and all of those important things, it comes from who our fathers tell us we are. So I've said this before in many vlogs for the past 2 years, as well as in my visual book that is out now, entitled How I Remain Emotionally Balanced in a Dysfunctional World. I've spoken of how my dad has always told me what my worth was through his actions, through what he said to me, through how he treated me. And that's why I had, for the most part, a pretty healthy measure of self-esteem and self-worth, because my father instilled in me what my worth was. He was in my life. He was good to me. He was good to my mother. He treated me amazingly well. And that's what I came up with. Now, if I had a father who wasn't around to give me that message at all, or if I had a father figure who treated me like crap and always put me down, then perhaps my self-esteem and my self-worth would be in a very different place today as a 35-year-old woman. Not to say you can't overcome those things if that's your story, but it definitely would take work, personal work from within to be able to overcome that, coupled with perhaps therapy and things of that nature, or just within yourself wanting to know your worth. But I know it's such a deep-rooted thing that more than likely other supports would probably still have to be put in place. And as I always say, my mom did not have her father in her life, didn't even have her mother in her life. And so when I make these statements, it's not that I'm just speaking from a textbook knowledge or things that I learned while in school. I'm speaking really to what my mother shared with me all of my life about the different things that she had to go through emotionally and the things that she had to overcome because she didn't have her parents in her life. And yes, she did have her grandfather who played like that father figure role for her, but let's keep it real. Nobody can ever really take the place of your biological parent, right? And so my mom had to go through therapy and go through certain therapeutic supports like therapy, and just continuously working on herself and trying to understand the breakdown in her own childhood and put into play things that this wasn't her fault, and the things that the areas that her parents failed her in. Like, it took time, and she says till this day it takes a day-to-day It's something, certain things will just never leave you. It's just something that you always have to work at day to day. And so when I make blanket statements by saying, if you didn't have a healthy childhood, if you underwent some unfortunate things like trauma, abuse, neglect, and things of that nature, it's not saying that you can't turn your life around, because clearly my mom was able to work on those things and set out a different life for herself so that she can be a great parent to her children, right? But she had to put in the work. It just wasn't like this one thing that she mulled over for a day or two or a week or two or a month or two or a year or two. Like, she had to put in the work for years, and still does in some regards. She's a Christian, a God-fearing woman. That also plays a huge piece of it as well, so it's work to be done. This is why I'm so passionate about sharing how our childhoods can make or break us, or make our lives harder, or make us face a lot of other obstacles if we're not careful. The day, if I'm blessed to become a parent, I have to be cognizant of how I'm choosing to raise my child or my children with my husband, right? We have to be cognizant of how we're treating our children, the environments we're having them in, the level of attention that we're giving them. Are we meeting their emotional needs? Are we understanding what their emotional needs are? Are we a living and breathing example of what a healthy marriage looks like? Healthy interactions between husband and wife, mom and dad. Like, those are things that even I'm like, woo, I got to keep all this in account, right? This is real stuff, because I could potentially make or break someone's life. If I'm blessed to have a son, who he turns out to be has a lot to do with me as his mother, right? Like, if I have a daughter, my husband, and even women too have influence. Women ultimately have influence over their children, whether you're male or female, right? Our mothers can rub off on us in a serious way, because they're the nurturers. They're the ones that do most of the primary caretaking, right? The raising. So my husband's going to have to also say, listen, I have to make sure that I'm in tune with my baby girl. This way, she understands her worth, that I do my job so she understands that she's worth everything and more, and that she is not to take certain treatment, right? As a mother as well, if I have a daughter, it's my role and responsibility not only to teach her how to be a woman, but also to pour into her, to also try to pour into her self-esteem and things of that nature. Like, my dad played a huge role with that, but my mom also played a huge role with that. Now, if my mom was like batshit crazy, that would affect me as well, So parents, all of us who aspire to be parents, who want to be parents, all of us who have had parents, because all of us have if we're in this world, right? For the most part, hopefully you've had parents who were part of your life. And if you didn't, if your story was like my mom's, then in some ways, absolutely, there are going to be some hurdles and mountains and hills to climb. We all have them, right? Some of us may have more hills and battles and hurdles to get over, to defeat, and to climb. And so this is why I love to spread the message of us just being aware that childhood has a huge effect on the people we become. What happens to you when you're 0 to 3 years old could impact your life when you're 35. What happens to you when you're 10 can definitely impact your life when you're 50. These are things that I think we all should be cognizant of. And I love, when Iyanla made that statement, like, mothers, how your sons are has a lot to do with you. Who they become is on you, a lot to do with you. Now, of course, once people are grown and they make certain decisions for their lives, we get that, that's different. But as far as, I can't even 100% say that, because as far as the choices that they now make for their lives has a lot to do with their upbringing, right? Certain teachings or lack thereof of teachings and things of that nature. So childhood is a powerful thing, y'all. We all come into this world as innocent blank slates, but let me tell you, it is so easy, just from my 13 years of social work, y'all know by now, I've seen a lot. It is so easy to mess children up. So that's kind of why I like to put that out there. So I just wanted to share the line that really resonated with me when watching Iyanla, and it's for me to keep in mind if and when I'm blessed to have a child or children. You know what I'm saying? Chanel, remember, you don't want to screw them up. Like, really try to make sure that you're in tune and you're living a healthy life and creating a healthy environment for children to thrive in. You know what I'm saying? What else did I want to discuss? I feel like I had a whole list. Why can't I remember now? Tag, like I hate that. Pretty much just, once again, us being aware of our behaviors, how we treat one another in day-to-day life, how we treat one another in the workplace, how we treat one another in friendships, how we treat one another in relationships. Let's just be aware. I always talk about self-awareness. I can never say enough about that. Sometimes I feel like a couple of friendships that went a little left, a little south, so to speak, I can always tell or get the sense when certain individuals are trying to creep their way back in, you know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just a reminder of, absolutely, I miss certain people that I've been friends with for years or whatever may have you, but in order for any reconciliation to occur, I always feel like that difficult conversation has to happen, and we have to take ownership for how things went left. And we, meaning I'm included. If there's anything that I might have contributed or didn't handle something in the best way, then I need to be able to cop and own up to that. And if the other party didn't handle things in the best of ways or in the right way or an appropriate way, then there needs to be some level of ownership for that before any kind of reconciliation can occur. And it just reminds me of overall human behavior. I feel like a lot of us kind of try to creep our way back into people's lives where there might have been some kind of conflict or rough patch, and a lot of us try to creep back in a way without having to rehash all the things that made the relationship or the friendship go south in the first place. And to me, if we're going to reconcile and move past a particular issue that might have had us distant from one another for gaps of time, years, months, whatever may have you, then in order for us, in my mind, to build a solid foundation of friendship or rebuild a solid foundation of friendship, then you're damn right there needs to be a conversation to address things so that we can move forward. Now, of course, the relationship more than likely will never be what it was, but it doesn't mean that it can't rebuild into something even stronger and better or more beautiful than what originally was in place, if that makes sense, But either way, to me, whether we decide to go run into the sunset together as friends or we decide this is where the road ends, there still should be some kind of a conversation where parties are able to own or take ownership for actions. I'm not in the business as a 35-year-old woman to be and remain in friendships that are going nowhere or friendships that are superficial. And when I say superficial, meaning it seems like, we're tight like that and we're close like that and we're friends like that. But when you really peel back the layers, it's like, damn, maybe we weren't as close as I thought we were. How come it's that it seemed one-sided at certain points? Or how come it's that this person couldn't even really be transparent? We're friends, I got you, you know what I'm saying? Why is it that I'm in the dark about a lot of things that may be really happening in your life? You may let me into your world when it comes to these two things, whether it's relationships, the dating world, that kind of work stuff. But when it comes to other stuff that's happening with you on the inside, whether it's struggles, whether it's battles, whether it's illnesses, whatever it may be, it's like I'm in the dark, And I know, as I always say, we all do reserve certain things that we keep locked up in that vault that we take with us to the grave. I get it, right? There are certain things that I have reserved in that vault as well. But aside from that one or two things that's reserved in the vault, I'm transparent about every other aspect of my life. So the people who are my friends and who are in my world, they more or less know at least 75 to 80% of me, right? So good, bad, ugly, indifferent, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When I got let go from my job, I didn't lie or sugarcoat things or simplify things for my friends. I spoke to each and every one of them face to face honestly face to face about the situation. It would come up in conversation, and everybody got the same spiel and the same story. That's just how I am. I'm transparent. And I know that everyone is not going to function and think along the lines that I do, and it's fine. But for me, if we're going to be friends, then our relationship is going to need to be deeper than just we're having fun, the here and now, or certain things. Like, okay, we'll talk about men and dating and stuff like that. Maybe we'll talk about a couple of things we're going through in some other friendships, but the real shit that's going on with me deep down inside, you're not going to know nothing about that. Then to me, are we that tight? Are we really close friends? Like, if I'm giving you 80% of who I am and what comes with my world and my life, then, and I'm only probably really getting 30% of your world, that's for me, it needs to be more of a balanced playing field or friendship, so to speak. And so as a 35-year-old, that's what I look for. When I was in my 20s, if I was given 80 and my friend was given 30, even though it might have annoyed me sometimes, I had more tolerance then. But now I'm busy between working, learning a new job, my many side hustles I'm working, laying bricks day to day on. My husband, I'm married. That's a role in and of itself. Keeping up with my family, my loved ones. Simple stuff like keeping up with my house, cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, having time out for myself. Like, I don't have a lot of time for the 80-30% thing. We got to meet each other in the middle. We got to meet each other halfway. And as difficult and real as life gets, the older you get, like, I need people who are going to be in the trenches with me, people who I can be in the trenches with when life is beating the hell out of us, if that makes sense. But that's just me. So I notice and get the sense that there are a few people who are trying to inch their way back in. And I do have a heart, and I do love and miss a lot of them dearly, but a part of me is like, until we can have that difficult conversation and everybody could own what we need to own, I'm not interested. You know, I got my hands full with my core group already. You know, and the people that have been able to remain in that core is not to say that we haven't had disagreements or we haven't had certain level of conflicts, but I think with this particular core, we've been able to respect one another enough and value one another and one another's friendship enough to own when we needed to own our ish, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're still there in my life. That's why I'm still in their lives, you know, because we showed that even though we might have messed up and not always treated each other the greatest in certain instances or circumstances throughout the life of the friendship, at some point we were able to say, I value this friendship and I messed up. I'm sorry. And, you know, I'm going to make all kinds of efforts to not make those mistakes again. I want you to know that I value our friendship. I think we've been able to do that. And that's why the core group that I do have in my life have remained there. So let's not get anything twisted. It's not like the core group, for the most part, maybe with the exception of one, it's not like the core group and I haven't gone through what I like to call the growing pains in friendships. We've gone through growing pains. It's just we've been able to rebound from them because we've been able to own our shit and like show and communicate to one another that we ultimately do value the friendship. Because like I said, this thing called life is real, y'all. And I'm pretty sure many of you share the same sentiments that I have as far as like, you want people who are really gonna be there for you in the trenches and do life with you and celebrate with you when you're up, pray with you when you're up and down, be there to console you when you're down, and be there when you're in the middle, you know? And I'm definitely willing and have been that person for the people in my life. And so for those who are trying to creep back in, just food for thought if you happen to be watching this vlog. I love you and the love has never stopped, but conversations need to be had and ownership needs to be had as well on both sides, you know? I'm not willing to request something that I'm not willing to give either, you know what I'm saying? And you know, just another thing I wanted to talk about has a lot to do with, how do I say this? When you give your art to the world, right? So when I first started this vlog off, I'm singing to one of my songs called Somebody, right? I think I've said this so many times. It's one of my favorite songs that I wrote and recorded for my EP entitled The Complex Simplicity of Me on SoundCloud, free of charge, y'all, under Chanel Casimir. Check it out. Shameless plug, yes. But that song I wrote for all the single people in my life that want to be married, yada, yada, yada. We've had this spiel, right? But either way, working on this EP and actually putting my art out there to the world, working on my visual book and putting my art and content out there to the world is a very nerve-wracking thing, right? Because you're opening yourself to scrutiny. You're opening yourself up for scrutiny, for critique, whether solicited or not, more than likely unsolicited critique. You're opening up yourself just for people to be like, that ain't hot, or that's great, or either way, I could go either way with or without it. And most people who are creatives, we're sensitive about our shit, right? Real talk, it is what it is, right? You work hard. I was recording for months with my brother, working hard, writing, recording, re-recording. I worked hard on my visual book, writing it, damn near memorizing it, filming it, and then the hard work really came in with trying to get it out, on what format and how are we going to get this to the public. So it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and work that goes into creating. And then when you finally are able to release your art, it's like such a euphoric sensation and feeling that you get, right? So as nervous as you are, you're excited. They call it nerves guided. You're like nervous and excited, right? But then in the same vein, after that euphoric feeling leaves, then it's like, oh shit, I just released my art to the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's out there. Digitally, it is out there. And it can be kind of a daunting feeling as far as just what critique you'll get, whether it's from people in your real life who you talk to, whether it's people who are strangers to you don't know, who just give unsolicited feedback and advice, whether the people who are supposed to be a part of your tribe or in your life support it or they don't support it. Like, it's a lot of stuff that you're now going to be privy and open to, so to speak, without your own control. It's stuff that you have no control over. And I get how it can stand in the way of some of us releasing our art and content to the world, our creativity. And I just want to encourage you, please, y'all, this also goes along with what I said in the beginning of this vlog, like, please don't stand in your own way. I was saying take steps, step by step, lay foundations brick by brick. Like, don't stand in your own way. Don't let that make you or allow you to talk yourself out of releasing the gifts that you have to offer to the world. You know what I'm saying? As I always say, I believe God has given all of us specific giftings, and they're not just for us to keep to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And someone who is a Christian who doesn't go to church the way she should, I'll even say it's not just limited to the church either. They're giftings that are for the world. And even though I may not be quoting Bible scriptures in my music or my visual book, it's very clear that I'm a Christian. I'm proud to say I'm a Christian. I put it out there that I'm a Christian. I put it out there I believe in Jesus Christ, God. I put it out there that I may use profanity at times and I don't go to church the way that I should, but I still believe, and that will always be a part of my art, right? So for those who are like holier than thou, y'all know who y'all are. And who will justify and feel like I'm using my gifts not for good because I'm not confining it to the four walls of the church. Well, that's your opinion. I'll have to respect, and I will have to, respect your opinion. But at the end of the day, I feel like our gifts are for the world, and my message is positive. I'm not talking about ratchet things. I'm talking about empowering, encouraging things. I'm talking a lot about how I feel God is the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? And he always has he's always sewn into everything that I do as far as my art goes. And, but don't let the naysayers in your mind that you feel exist, or the naysayers who may be in your real life, don't let them or that stop you from creating, y'all, and releasing it. Like, it is what it is. People will always have opinions and perspectives. Hey, I'm one of them, right? But it doesn't mean that should determine whether the sun rises and sets. Like, no, we all don't have that kind of control and power over anyone's destiny, over anyone's blessings. Like, do you, and get your art and creative juices out there and giftings to the world. Like, a lot of people don't listen to my EP. A lot of people haven't even checked out my visual book or paid the $4.99 for it. But guess what? Even if it helped that one person, then guess what? My job was done. Or even if for now, it may not have all of this visibility, but who knows what may happen a month from now, a year from now, 3 years from now. So still keep plugging away at your passions and your dreams. I know we all get motivated through certain things. One thing I could say about a lot of my girlfriends and I, we make it a point to try to push each other and to motivate and encourage each other. And I know I play a big role in that with a lot of my girlfriends, of trying to push, motivate, and encourage. But also I recognize that may not be the motivating factor. What may motivate someone else is seeing me actually be about what I talk about, meaning, Chanel, laying them bricks, going for your passions, creating opportunities for yourself, continuing to create art and content. My friends see that that's what I do all the time. And so that, if anything, may be what motivates them more than me talking, using talking or communicating as a way to push them. Really, it may just be them seeing me grinding relentlessly, whether I'm have big numbers or not, I'm still out here grinding. And I think that may also be what helps to low-key encourage and push others and motivate others to do the same thing. So please, y'all, don't stand in your own way. Don't let anyone stop you. Please don't let insecurity stop you. If you feel like you have something to share, but you sense that or feel that nobody's going to understand where you're coming from or agree with you, or they may go against your perspective, listen, that's fine. But there's going to be that one person out there who needs to hear exactly what it is you have to say. So focus on that one person and not all these other people that you may feel are not going to agree with you. We don't always have to agree. And I think that's where we as humans get things messed up and twisted out here. We do not always have to agree about everything. It's just how we're able to express a contrary perspective. As long as we're respectable, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with a lot of things with my loved ones. That's not going to make me stop loving them. That's not going to make me stop being friends with them, family with them. Like, okay, we don't agree about this. Life goes on. You know what I'm saying? So don't let the fact of people not understanding or buying into what you're saying or agreeing with you stop you from sharing what you have to share with the world, right? And I get it. Insecurities could play a big part in that. And to me, that ties in a lot with caring about what people say, putting too much stock into what people say and think about you. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, we all have to be able to sleep at night, and I can't let someone else's thoughts and opinions of me affect how I sleep at night, affect how I make my money, affect how I live my life, affect how I am in my marriage, affect how I am in my relationships and friendships with others. Like, I can't let other people's thoughts of me affect how I do me. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Keep creating, y'all. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Keep creating. There are too many things, like I always say, life is short, and there are too many other things to get in the way and too many other natural hurdles we're going to have to climb over. Please don't let other people's opinions be one of those hurdles. Like, do you live your life, enjoy your life. Life is short. Set goals, try to achieve them, bad boys. Take it a step at a time, day by day, lay brick by brick. Like, keep people around you who are actually about the things that you want in life, That's all I'm saying, y'all. Before I end this vlog, because we're almost getting to that time point or period, look out for some advertisements for a dance class that two of my girlfriends and I are about to launch. We've been working hard on trying to create a great and dope, affordable experience where women, people in general, can come together who love to dance, who love to move, who want to get more healthy, who just want to like let loose, who want to network. Like, we're trying to create this amazing space for humans to just come together for a couple of hours, 2 hours, dance, bond, and, you know, lose some pounds or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, to have a great time, just some good music, warm atmosphere. Like, I've been to tons of dance classes in my adult life, and some have had that great creative space and warm space, and it's like very empowering, and others have not. And I've paid to go to dance classes where, and I consider myself to be a pretty decent catcher of choreography, meaning I learned choreography at a pretty good speed, so to speak. And I paid money and walked out and couldn't even tell you what I learned. And so I wanted to create a dance class that had all the empowering, encouraging, great atmosphere, great vibe type feeling in the room, but also where you can learn a dance that's pretty dope and walk out and feel confident that you learned and understood and got that dance down. So if you wanted to do the dance just to work out on your own, to feel good about yourself, for your significant other, you have that dance down, right? And I also wanted it to be where everyone didn't have to travel so far into Manhattan, you know, for these dance classes. Like, that's a lot too. That could be enough to deter people. And so, you know, two of my girlfriends, good friends, who are amazing dancers, you know, I posed this to them. They were down for the plan. We've been working together for at least 2 months now, and we're at the point where we're about to launch our first dance class. And so I will have some visuals for you very soon, which is part of the advertisement of this class, and where you know the who, what, when, where, why, so to speak, those kind of details. But I kind of just want to start putting the buzz out there a little bit so you know. So for those of you who live in the tri-state area, the New York area, New Jersey area, within the 5 boroughs, upstate, wherever it is, we will have dance classes at your access for an affordable price. Details to follow shortly, visuals to follow shortly. I know some may feel like the dance world is overly saturated right now, but what I will say is there is a void in definitely the Bronx area, uptown area of dance classes. And like I said, these are dance classes where you'll learn some dope choreography, but it'll be tangible, it'll be learnable. It's not for the dancers who dance professionally, but for everyday people who enjoy movement and dance, who maybe you're not into working out at the gym, you want to dance. Maybe you just like me, you just love to dance. It's always been something you've loved to do. You need a fun hobby, an outlet to ventilate your stress. You want to come together in a forum with great women who are about great things and network, like whatever it is. So look out for that. I wanted to put that in there as well. See, your girl working. And more to come. But anyway, thank you for rocking out with your girl. Continue to head to complexsimplicity.com and have an amazing week. And until next time.